The college football regular season has officially wrapped up, and we know who's going to be in the playoff. We're super excited for it. But what we don't know is who's going to win the Heisman Trophy. It's either going to be Travis Hunter from Colorado or Ashton Jeanty from Boise State. Regardless of who wins it, though, I'm just happy it's not two quarterbacks going for the award.
Yep.
It's two, unique players.
Yeah, you got Travis Hunter, who plays both sides of the ball, 14 receiving touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And on the other side, you got Ashton Jeanty, who is going to be the first running back taken in the NFL draft, leading Boise State to the playoffs. One of the most interesting Heisman races in recent memory.
Before we start talking about one of the most interesting Heisman races in decades, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. Quick recap before we get into each player's case. Like we said, it's just so refreshing to see two non-quarterbacks. I mean, it's not unheard of. Devontae Smith won it in 2020 as a wide receiver. Derrick Henry in 2015 won it as a running back. Christian McCaffrey finished second. A lot of people think he should have won the award.
Mark Ingram and Toby Gerhart, I think in 2009 were 1 and 2.
Yeah, back then. What is unheard of is a defensive player potentially win the Heisman. It's only happened one time in 1997 when Charles Woodson won the award. He's basically the closest comparison you can make to Travis Hunter, but even then, Woodson really played minimal on offense. He was mainly a defensive player, also did kick returns, punt returns. Like I said, it's just so nice to see two non-quarterbacks because the Heisman Trophy has basically become the best quarterback in the nation, not the best player.
And they still had to bring two quarterbacks to New York to
of course they
fill
did.
out the round of it. And Cam Ward, and as much as I want to be a homer for Dillon Gabriel, I've already seen one Oregon quarterback from Hawaii who wears number 8 win the Heisman. I'd love to see another one, but it's just not gonna happen. And we'll start with Jeanty. I mean, dude just ran over basically everyone this year. Ran over both of our teams, and last year he was all conference in the Mountain West. I had heard his name before, but going into this season, a lot of the hype around the running back position, it was Ollie Gordon at Oklahoma State, Marion Hampton at North Carolina. Jeanty was in the conversation for best back in the country, but mainly it was those two. And that first game against Georgia Southern, 267 yards, 6 touchdowns. Literal, this is an overused phrase, but literal video game numbers.
Yeah, literal running up the numbers in your dynasty to try to make that early Heisman push.
Exactly.
But then he follows it up with 192 and 3 touchdowns against your Ducks, a game you were at.
I was at the game, man.
He's known for breaking tackles and being so hard to bring down. When he gets in the open field,
he's got breakaway speed.
Yeah, look out. A couple weeks later, 259 yards, 4 touchdowns against Washington State, had that late run that was Marshawn Lynch-esque. Another 217 against Hawaii, 209 and 3 touchdowns versus Nevada, 226 against my Beavers, and then he just dropped 209 against UNLV in the Mountain West Championship game. He's got 2,497 yards, 29 touchdowns rushing, another one receiving. Like you said, it's overused, but these are video game numbers, and he's got a legit chance to break Barry Sanders' single season rushing yards record at 2,628. Of course, you could say he's done it in more games, but also in less rushing attempts. It's crazy to think that record could be broken.
Yeah, and Barry Sanders on Twitter even was like, hey, records are meant to be broken.
Yeah, shout out to him for that.
How refreshing is it to see an old head from the previous generation actually talking up a guy from the younger generation? He only needs 131 yards to break the record. Boise's going to get either SMU or Penn State in the second round, probably Penn State. So, I just watched Oregon play Penn State in the Big Ten championship game. They got a pretty stout rush defense, but Jeanty's ran against everyone all year, so I'm not going to put it past him to go for 150 against that Nittany Lion defense.
Yeah, and speaking of the playoff, that's a big argument you could use for Jeanty to win the Heisman. He led his team to the playoff. Sure, you could say he's playing the Mountain West, but their only loss again on the road. Number 1 team Oregon, only undefeated team all season.
At the buzzer,
and he was the only reason they were in that game. Special teams completely screwed him over. His quarterback didn't do shit. He carried that Boise State team that game.
Yeah, not only did Boise make the playoffs, they got a first round bye too. They don't have to go on the road to Texas like Clemson does. They get to sit at home for a couple weeks and await the winner SMU Penn State. It's an unbelievable season that Jeanty and Boise State have had.
On the other hand, you have Travis Hunter also making history, but in a very different way. We've seen two-way players in college football. They are very rare, but some recent guys, Miles Jack, Adoree Jackson, Shaq Thompson, and then historic guys like Champ Bailey, Chris Gamble, and as we mentioned, Charles Woodson. Charles Woodson, again, the closest comparison, but really he wasn't super two-way. I mean, he had some highlights receiving, but 231 receiving yards.
He's like a gadget guy.
Yeah, more so like I said, punt return, kick return is more so where he had his highlights with the football in his hands. For Hunter though, 14 receiving touchdowns, that's second most in the country. 1,152 receiving yards, that's sixth most in the country. So he's one of the best receivers in the nation. And then he's got 4 picks on the other side of the ball. That's tied for 17th in the nation. 11 pass deflections, tied for 8th in the country. He's forced a fumble. This isn't some gimmick where he's just playing on both sides, you know, for like a PR stunt. He's legit like very good to borderline elite on both sides of the football.
Well, that was like that ESPN graphic for, I can't remember which game it was, but it was like, you know, impact players for Colorado on offense and defense. Yeah. It was Travis Hunter for both of them.
Yeah.
It's true. He is. Like, he's their best skill position guy on offense, and he's their best defensive player.
And the main argument for him is like, both players are making history. Like we said, Jeanty has the chance to become the all-time leading rusher in a single season, but technically there's players who have done what Jeanty has done before. Like we said, Barry Sanders obviously put up those insane numbers. Melvin Gordon and Kevin Smith, they both had 2,500 yard seasons rushing the football in the past 20 years. There's never been a player that's done what Travis Hunter has done on both sides of the football. Like I said, very good on both sides. There's like arguments like which side he could play in the NFL. He's not playing both sides in the NFL.
He can't. There's no way.
That's not going to happen, but he could legit play, like choose each side, whatever he'd prefer, whatever scouts prefer. That's never been done, and he's helped turn around this Colorado football team. Obviously, Dillon deserves a lot of credit. Shedeur Sanders. You could even say Shiloh. I mean, the random shot at Shiloh. I'm sorry.
They had a great year though.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
9-3 in the Big 12. The Big 12 was a whole mess this year, but going from 1-11 to 9-3 in 2 years.
Incredible.
Incredibly impressive. Incredibly impressive.
So now our picks. Who you going with? It's a closer, no wrong answers either way.
I mean, I got to the point where I was almost fine just flipping a coin.
Right.
And like heads, it's Jeanty, tails, it's Hunter. I think Hunter's gonna win it. He's a massive favorite in Vegas. Yeah. I think it's like minus 4,000 or whatever. Me personally, I would give it to Jeanty simply because I think Jeanty is more valuable to Boise than Hunter is to Colorado. Like if you take Hunter off Colorado, yeah, they lose him on defense and they lose him on offense. They still have good receivers though. Like they still have Jimmy Horn. They still have Shedeur to distribute the ball. I think they would be worse, but not significantly worse. You take Jeanty off of Boise State, they're winning what, like 6-7 games maybe?
Yeah.
That's my thing, like watching them in person against Oregon. If Jeanty didn't suit up against the Ducks, Oregon wins that game like 45-10.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And instead it went right down to the wire. So both of them have had incredible seasons. I don't think there's a wrong answer. Like you said, if Hunter gets it, which it seems like he's going to, I have no problem with that whatsoever. But me personally, I would give it to Jeanty.
I'm kind of with you, coin toss, but I'm going with Hunter just because, like I mentioned, we've never seen this before. Like both players, we've never seen seasons like this before, but Hunter especially, I think it's going to be a long time before we see a player this good on both sides of the football again. I think if you had a fantasy draft, everyone in college football, I think he goes 1, maybe Jeanty goes 1. It's tough to tell, but I think he's overall the best player in college football. He's going to win the award regardless. We kind of know that, but
at least it's not a quarterback.
Yeah, at least it's not a quarterback regardless. Incredible seasons for both of them. They honestly both deserve it, but it's probably going to go to Hunter. So what do you guys think? Who should win the Heisman? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving me a like, and hey, while you're here, check out some of our other content as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.